I've asked this obvious question from thousands of people who I've had the pleasure of interviewing and working with. And the reason I ask this is because as an educator and a coach, it's important to me what people think of themselves and how they feel about themselves. These are brilliant people in fascinating fields. And they usually start by saying, I'm Dr. So-and-so, I'm the professor of this, or I'm the CEO of this. And I quickly stop them and say, no, who are you in here? There's usually a really long pause, and then we dig into some really good conversation. So today, I want to ask you guys that same question. Who are you in here? In our busy world, do you ever take the time to go in and ask yourself, who's in here? What's in here? Is it love, compassion, confidence, courage, curiosity, desires? This is really important because our self-concept is directly tied to what happens in our lives, who comes into our life experience, what we end up doing, how much abundance we enjoy. So what I would like to know, would you like to know what I think of you? I think you are a magnificent, precious expression of life. I'll repeat that. You are a magnificent, precious expression of life. I'd like you guys to marinate in that for a few minutes. How does that feel? How does that feel? Pretty good, right? Pretty good. You see, I want you to lean in and really get curious about who's in there. Because at the end of the day, who we are is really what our whole life manifests to be, right? We've had lots of speakers today who talked about that today. So I tell you what you're not. You're not your past. You're not your name. You're not your race. You're not your gender. You're not your profession. You're not your job or any of your accomplishments. So who are you and what's in here? Because my friends, if you don't have the who dialed in, life becomes not so good. We have a lot of suffering. We call that mental chatter. That mental chatter that is criticizing us. It's stealing our hopes and dreams. We're not good enough. Imposter syndrome. You know the drill. You guys know, everybody. I have yet to meet a person who doesn't suffer from their mental chatter. In fact, we contemplate between 70 and 80,000 thoughts per day. Brutal, I know, especially since most of those are negative. When you're in your head, you're dead, says Jim Rohn. He's one of my favorite speakers. He's passed, but he's Tony Robbins' mentor, was his mentor. So that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the fact that we all suffer if we don't really dial in to who we really are. We live in an age where everybody is searching. So many people is searching for their why. And they forget about the most important component. Who's behind the why? Because it's almost impossible to dial in your why or have a meaningful purpose, reason for being, if you don't know who you are, right? You can't really stand behind it. It's not giving you the inspiration you need, that intrinsic motivation to act within, right? So it's really important for us to quiet everything and go into our hearts and figure out who we are. So who are we? Inside of us is a soul that's been around for thousands of years and will continue to exist. And that soul, that invisible part of us, has wisdom, has a message for each and every one of us. That one note we were meant to sing. The difference and the impact only you can make. That's powerful. So it's good to tune in and listen. Except that when we are not aligned with who we are, we miss that frequency, so we don't really hear it. Your soul also has an essence. It has a signature, its own special signature. So that's why when I say that you're a precious expression of life, that's what I mean. There's so many resources within you. And that's not all. That's just the beginning. You have virtues within you. Virtues like joy, love, courage, confidence, perseverance, determination. And these are invisible muscles that we all have within us. So it's not like you lack confidence and you have to take a workshop on confidence so that you can be confident. That's not it. You already have confidence muscles, invisible confidence muscles that you just need to flex and work with things like competence, courage, integrity, in order for them, for confidence to show up, in order for you to become confident. And that's just one example. You embody over 300 virtues within you. And realized, look at how much more powerful you can be, right? You have gifts that you've never opened. You have genius within you. You have strength beyond your imagination. It's not your fault, though. In our world, we're not taught to look within. We're taught to look outside. Outside to compare, to criticize, to judge. That's what we're taught to do. And so it's kind of intuitive for us, instinctive for us to do, to look at things from the outside and not from the inside. But what if I told you there's a way out? What if I told you that the path to living the life that you want, to really becoming who you were meant to be, is the connection between your mind and your heart? They say that the longest trip you'll ever take is the distance, the 18 inches between your mind and your heart. That's what they're talking about. If we do nothing, we get there when we're in our 80s. But it'd be nice to have that kind of wisdom, that kind of connection with the self before that, wouldn't it? So that potential that lies within each of us, that connection of our mind with our hearts, is powerful. When you have that dialed in, then you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you're stepping in your power, in your authenticity, in the true version of yourself, the version you were meant to be in this life, so that you can make the difference only you can make in our world. So you can listen to that inner voice that's been whispering to deaf ears all your life. So today, I want to invite you to do two things. I want you to connect with that authentic power. That's number one. Number two, I want you to empower a child or two with the message that they have all these virtues within them. Can you imagine a world that's thriving with young, happy kids who have joy in their heart, who are confident, who are courageous, who walk in love, compassion, and respect with one another? This is really important because today, right now, there's a child who's thinking about committing suicide. Suicide, in fact, is the leading cause of death in children and young adults, sadly. But if they become empowered in knowing that there's hope, hope is a virtue that's missing in a lot of young people. They can't see. We've created a world that's really confusing to them. So I'd love it for you guys to join me in really spreading the message to young children about the fact that they have all these resources within them that they can recruit at any time and be empowered by them. You see, the reason I'm so adamant and passionate about bringing our authentic power out is because I lost my power not once, but twice. And I had to work really hard to get it back. The first time was when I was 12 years old and I came to this country, left everything behind with my parents, didn't speak English, and I was bullied. And I was told to go home. Talk about blowing up your foundation. That was hard. And I worked hard to get it back. And the second time was when I fell into a career that was dominated by force and greed. Oh, I was very successful by all standards. I was making a lot of money. I was the 6th top female financier in the country, but I was empty inside. I had lost my authentic power. I knew what freedom was, but I wasn't free. And it took a long time for me to actually gain my authentic power back. And so today, as I stand here before you, a couple of decades later, in my authentic power, with the truly privilege and honor that I have to work with so many wonderful people, lighting them up, bringing them to their authentic power so they can do their matching in the world, creating miraculous things, having people move from glory to glory. It was so worth it. So I invite you to do the same. I want you to really spend the time. You're worth it. Spend the time and tune into your authentic power, to your power of authenticity, because that's truly where everything lays in terms of your success, your connections in life, because it's really hard for a lot of us, right? We fear connection and intimacy, yet as mammals, we need intimacy to survive. It's not even a nice to have. We need that. And so unless we can become intimate with ourselves, we cannot be intimate with another person, not really, not meaningfully, not viscerally. So it's really a powerful, deep, meaningful connection to self that is required in order for us to live the life that we want, the life that we deserve. Because at the end of the day, what happens when you go through the self-actualization journey to gain your power of authenticity, it's really who you become, becoming yourself. It's like your homecoming. And we all know that we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. And the more comfortable we are with ourselves, the more in tune we are with our soul, with our spirit, with what we're here to do, with who we're here to be, the quicker it'll happen. The delay in time is that missing component. The sooner you connect to your authentic power, the sooner you'll realize everything you want in life. So I want to be the first one to welcome you home to your authentic power. Thank you.